So hello, everybody. Welcome to our COVID and Cancer ongoing series on enhancing resilience. And everyone, I think, knows me. I'm Rachel Justice, along with Jillian Levinson, co-leaders of Woman to Woman. And we are so lucky that we are joined by Elicia Enriquez, who is a fantastic social worker, and she specializes in the area of resilience. I'm not sure if everyone has attended previous sessions. She's done two or three for us before, that have been really interesting and helpful. And it is part of our COVID and Cancer series because now is the time when everyone is really being tested, as cancer patients and survivors living during a global pandemic. You are, you're all going through a lot, and we are all going through a lot. And, now is the time where everyone's resilience is being tested. And Elicia is going to continue the work that she has done over the past months, and teach us about kind of what resilience is, how to enhance resilience, and to teach you really, what inner strengths that you all might have, you might be able to tap into to get through this challenging time. So I'm going to turn the virtual mic over to Elicia, let her reintroduce herself for those of you who are joining this series for the first time. And I'm really looking forward to spending the next hour or so with all of you.
Great. Thanks so much, Rachel. So like Rachel said, my name is Elicia Enriquez. I'm one of the clinicians at the Center for Stress, Resilience, and Personal Growth. It's a center born out of COVID for mental health care for all of our employees at Sinai. And part of the center's mission is to also provide workshops. You guys are actually a very special group because Rachel reached out to us directly to ask if we could start working with patients. And so you guys are actually one of our only standing patient groups that we work with, where we bring these same tools that we're giving to employees to you guys. And so we've done a couple of sessions before. We talked about what is resiliency. In the first one, we talked about facing our fears, what we can sort of do about it. And then we started off last time with talking about self-care. We had a really great discussion surrounding self-care and what you all think about it and what you do for yourself. And so today is a continuation of the self-care module plus physical fitness and living well. And so that's where we're going to start today. I'm going to share my screen, and just so that you can look at something and let me know sort of where you are. This is called the stress continuum model. And the whole reason behind it is to sort of assess, to visualize something, to look at something, and then to sort of assess where you fall at this moment in time, and then we'll talk about it. So I'll give you a few minutes to look at it. So let me first share my screen. I can remember how to do that. Okay, can everyone see my screen here? Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
So just take a few moments to look this over. Again, the stress continuum module. Okay. So, and looking this over, we're just going to go through it briefly. This is basically, you sort of think about it as a traffic light, right? Like green means go, red means absolute stop, yellow and orange, it's sort of like a yellowy orange, right? Are sort of like slow down. So in the green category is ready, right? So this is when we're doing okay. We have a sense of mission in our lives. We get good sleep. We are able to problem solve, able to critically think about things. We are very effective in what we're doing, and we feel in control, and we're coping well. That's when we're in the green category. Yellow is reacting. So yellow is we're more transient, more mild distress. So this is like a mild kind of thing, right? Some mild anxious symptoms, maybe some problems with focusing, concentrating on things. This is when thoughts of worry start to arise, as well as maybe some problems feeling happiness, joy, the like more positive type of sensations. Okay? Then we go to injured. Injured is when we're increasing severity and risk. So this is where we have sleeping issues, maybe difficulty falling asleep, staying asleep, or waking up in the middle of the night and not being able to go back to sleep, where we can feel emotionally numb, meaning that we're sort of not feeling at all. We've turned off our emotions because it's actually very common symptom of trauma to turn off your emotions, because when something becomes so overwhelming, we decide that our brain tells us, no, you can't feel all of this. So it shuts it down. So we actually don't feel anything. We feel sort of empty. Burnout, right? So a sense of like, we're just over it, over everything. I think the majority of us are probably burnt out on COVID itself, and how our lives are during COVID. Disengagement, so sort of like withdrawing or pulling back from things that maybe we used to enjoy, or even like social engagements, right? Like things that we used to enjoy going out socially, and now we're sort of more isolating ourselves. Physical symptoms, this can include anything from, headaches, stomach aches, physical muscle tension, maybe like back pain. Obviously, if you have a ongoing medical condition that these are related to, they might be exacerbated, or these might be brand new symptoms that have nothing to do with your actual medical condition, as well as exhaustion, right? Feeling tired pretty much all the time, or feeling overly tired based upon something that maybe wouldn't make you tired, right? So like maybe going out used to be a really fun and exciting activity for you, and now after 10 minutes of being out and about, you're sort of like exhausted and sort of over it. Right? So that's injured. Then we get to critical. And critical is sort of like the highest version of risk. So this is the category that if you're in this category, that it's warning you, right? There's warning signs of you really want to seek help at this point. So it's persistent and continual distress. So this includes insomnia, right? Not being able to sleep really at all, maybe only getting a couple of hours. Hopelessness, feeling like nothing is worth anything anymore. Panic. Sometimes people have like panic symptoms. Panic can also look a lot like anxiety, right? But like a very heightened state. People also can have panic attacks during this time period. Panic attacks are very short, quick times where you feel as though you can't do anything. Like sometimes you feel immobile, like you're frozen in time. Other times you feel like your heart is racing really fast, right? You might feel like pressure on your chest, like you can't breathe, and they only last a couple of minutes, but they are really very scary when you're in them. Anxiety, like we talked about, like overthinking things, just really feeling anxious, perhaps on edge a lot of the time. Depression, feeling really down, having a loss in things that you used to enjoy, no longer really enjoying them. Feeling low. Substance use, using drugs or substances to help cope, right? A lot of the times when we are feeling super down, or we're feeling really anxious, one or the other, we can turn to substances like drugs and alcohol to make us feel better, right? And a lot of times they don't actually end up doing that. They may end up doing that for like a short period of time, but in the long term aren't really beneficial. And then also, of course, any kind of thoughts of self-harm or suicide, that's when we're really on the highest level of the spectrum. So before we talk about this more, any initial reactions to this continuum or any questions on it? So the reason why we include this in our slides is to really have a visual for people to look at and to help assess where you think you are in this continuum. And it is a continuum, right? So that means like you can go from one to the other fluidly. There's no like, you have to stay in green and you have to stay in orange, right? You can fluidly move through them. Does anyone want to share where they believe they are at this moment? Can't see you all, so make sure.
I think this is really, really helpful. I don't know if you saw, I took a picture of it. I think, especially as someone who is working you know, with our patients and, you know, and kind of as a mental health professional, I love this model, you know, and I mean, I look and I can relate to a lot of the stuff also. And I think it shows the stress that everybody is going through, you know, whether you are a cancer patient or survivor or working with cancer patients and, you know, survivors or working in healthcare. I can't imagine that anyone who has gone through the past 2.5 years, you know, is fully in the green. I would imagine that everyone is yellow towards red. So I don't know if everyone agrees. And also if people are more comfortable putting information in the chat, obviously feel free to do that too.
What was your question?
If you wanted to respond to where you think you are in this model.
Oh, I'm definitely injured. I sometimes I can't sleep. Sometimes I feel like I'm burnt out. I mean, it's just, you know, a lot of stuff happening in my world right now that puts me in that situation. Loneliness, you know, so, yeah.
What's it like to sort of recognize that? Or did you recognize that prior to seeing this in front of you?
Recognizing it was easy for me because of just realizing how I'm by myself, where I used to have so many people before. So that was the easy part of it. But the sleeping issues were the big problems because I never really had that problem. You know, I mean, I had problems not being able to sleep because of pain, but now it's more of staying up and thinking about, you know, where I'm at in the world today.
Yeah. Sleep issues are really, really high. When we talk to really anyone who's going through any kind of stressful situation, right? Sleeping and eating are the number one and number two things that sort of like fall to the wayside, where we start to recognize like there really are a lot of changes within that world. And then when our sleep changes, right, what sleeping or eating changes, we're human, right? We're not robots. We need to be able to sleep and to get nourishment. And if we don't, right, these kind of things actually grow in terms of, you know, that we're feeling tired during the day, more exhausted, that kind of thing. So it's sort of like is a ongoing snowball effect.
Right.
Thanks for sharing.
I know
I think most, I'm sorry.
No, Robin, you go. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, you know, with COVID sort of normalizing in my house at the moment, although expecting it to go crazy because there's a baby being born soon. So, but I would say for the most part that I'm doing okay, but there are days that I might go into the yellow. I might have days of yellow, days of green, days of yellow. So I think I can sort of float between the two.
Yeah, definitely.
In the height of COVID, I would tell you that, you know, I mean, I was like anybody else, just completely stressed out.
And I was just going to say, we had a few people who just joined in the last few minutes. So just to bring you up to date, Elicia has shared this stress continuum model, and she's asking for those who are comfortable to share where they think they might be on this continuum. So again, no obligation, but for those who joined more recently, if you're comfortable chiming in either, you know, verbally or in the chat, you know, we definitely, she would like to hear from you. Oh, Joan is raising her hand.
Hi. I'm sorry I'm late. I was stuck on phone calls.
No problem.
So reading through this, I guess, like Robin mentioned, she's fluctuating between ready and reacting. I react less now than I did. I mean, this is like always, it depends on where I focus on my life. You know, if I focus on a month ago versus 2 months ago versus 3 months ago, I would give you very different answers. I'm happy to say now, in the 8th month of this year, I feel ready and reacting sometimes. And it's more when I have the reacting comes from probably the list of things to do becomes too large and I keep jumping mentally from one to another. It provokes anxiety. It then provokes problems with focus. And so, I mean, I'm happy to have a meditation practice so I can sit down for 3 minutes and breathe and come back into the present moment and then go back to a state of readiness.
I love that. Thanks for sharing, Joan. The meditation practice as well is something that we're going to talk about a little bit later today. I love that you're already doing it. So you found something that works for you.
It's really surprising.
So the reason why we bring this up, right, it's not to scare anyone, right? It's not to say like, you're not doing well if you're over here, right? It's really to allow you to see where you are and to sort of start thinking about what kind of things are contributing to where you are, right? And a lot of the time, the things that we're contributing are not things within our control, within our power and control, right? Like the pandemic, right? But also to recognize that maybe there are some things that are within your power and control, like what Joan was just saying, right? The anxiety, the anxious thoughts tend to be talking about future things, and bringing yourself back into present can be really helpful. I see that someone else raised their hand.
Hi, everyone. I joined a little late also. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I'm Andy LaCarrie. Joan said something that I think you said it, Joan. When you were in reacting mode, you had kind of a list of things that you wanted to get done, and that it got bigger and bigger. I realized that I fall into that category, and that list of things that I wanted to do, helping people. I'm a teacher, I help a lot of people. And I got a group together to make masks during COVID for one of the Mount Sinai hospitals. And I was building up anxiety because I overcommitted, which is something I do often, but my team rallied around me. I put a call out to a women's group and garden club, and I said, does anyone sew? And it worked out. But what I realized is that I was creating the problem. And like Joan said, I was in control. If I was creating the problem, I was in control. One visual that I've used often is that you have an egg crate and you have 12 eggs in the egg crate. And consider those problems, like there's a problem in each egg crate. And as long as you keep the egg crate calm, it doesn't spill into each other's space. But if you start to shake up that egg crate, you have a mess. So, one issue, you're going through chemo, has nothing to do with you making masks, has nothing to do with your commitment to your students, has nothing to do, but when you start to shake up that egg crate, so you have to really compartmentalize your stress points, and you do have control over that. That's all I wanted to say. So don't shake the egg crate.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joan, for sharing, because I would have never triggered what I thought.
Thank you for that. I love that visual. I'm actually going to use that visual with my patients moving forward, because you literally talked about compartmentalization, which is great. Edie?
Yeah, I thought that this is a very interesting chart that you gave us. And I can see a little of myself in every one of them. I do have some anxiety sometimes. I'm a natural born worrier. I worry too much about very many things. And I do have physical, I feel exhausted. I get up, I do some of the things I need to do, and all I want to do is close my eyes for a while. I have depression at times, which, I feel as though there's a dark cloud that comes over me and that I have to brush away. It changes sometimes from day to day. Something good happens and, I feel fine for the rest of the day. And then the morning comes, I get up in the morning and I wake up a few times during the night. Sometimes I fall back asleep quickly. Sometimes it takes a longer time. So even though it seems like enough hours, it's broken up. And I think that makes me feel a little more tired or exhausted during the day. But, when it's finally morning, I think, oh, well, I'm feeling fine. I'm feeling much better. That's while I'm still in bed. But I get up and I start moving around and doing things I need to do. And then it's same old, same old. So, I'm still fighting it. And I think sometimes I say I'm doing my best. And then sometimes I think maybe it's only second best. I'm working at it. I'm trying. And, a lot of it is being alone also. And that's difficult, even with homemade on a few days and a few hours a day. But, it's not quite the same. So, I hope to learn something more that'll be helpful for me. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for that comment, Edie, and I'm sure others feel very similarly. So going through this alone and also, feeling great when you first wake up and then going through the day and realizing how many things you have to do, right? How many things are on your to-do list and then your physical exhaustion, right? So,
Yep.
thanks for sharing. Okay. Any other comments before we move on? Joan.
So my heart goes out to everybody. I mean, I've been in those depressed states. And it's very uncomfortable. It feels, for me, it always feels like it felt like I was failing. But part of the way that I work myself out is that rather than saying, am I doing my best, I really flipped it and said, this is the best I can do. This is the best I can do right now. And the other way is, the antidote to worry traditionally in meditation is appreciation. So, even if you get up and make yourself a cup of tea, to appreciate the tea leaves or the tea bag, the hot water, the cup that you choose, how long you brew it, how it tastes, really breaking it down moment to moment to moment. And, rather than, and I had to work out of my habit. First of all, my husband trained me that I always try to do too much. Not a good thing. Always constantly feeling inadequate. So the list of to-do things for me became something I recognized as I created. And so I could do them or not. None of them were life-threatening. And as I looked for more appreciation in my life, all of the negative chatter that's in the brain, that's a habit, started to simmer down. I'm happy to say now this has been over the last 3 months when I've really been able to focus on this. I don't think I could have focused it on it December through March, right? So I'm not saying this works all the time. And if you don't think about it or don't include it in your life, that's okay, you know, but at least you can say, oh, gee, I'm worrying right now. And what is the worry trying to tell me? Is it necessary, you know, rather than allowing the worry to become, oh my God, I'm worrying, I'm so inadequate, I must be a bad person. You know, that's that track, as opposed to, I'm worrying. Okay, I'm worrying. Is it a real worry? Maybe yes, maybe no. I wish I could remember about the joke of going to hell, but I can't. I'll see if I can find it.
Yeah, let us know.
It's a very funny joke about choices and how you either end up in heaven or hell. At any rate, I'm not saying I'm good at this all the time, by any means I'm not, but I just really recommend appreciating your mind for being able to worry.
Hmm.
You know, you can really play with it. It's such a gorgeous tool.
Yeah.
And the only hard thing is to remember that you can do appreciation.
Yeah. Thank you for that. You
Sure.
know, gratitude practices are really a large part of coping mechanisms for people, as well as meditation, as well as being present in the moment, right? And so appreciating things. So,
Thank you.
so these are, can you guys still see my entire screen? Okay. These are how we can, right, attend to our physical and emotional well-being, right? So we can make and stick to goals. Now, this includes physical exercise. Now, physical exercise doesn't have to be, you know, working at a gym or something like that. It can just like going for a walk, right? Whatever is within your capacity to do. Somehow moving your body has been shown to be very beneficial, right? For your mental health as well as your physical health. Now, of course, we're aware of, you know, with surviving cancer, with undergoing chemo, there are going to be days and times and periods where you physically do not have the energy to do some kind of workout, right? That the workout is physically getting up and going to the bathroom and then getting back, right? And so I say this to say, please do not be hard on yourselves, right? Please do not say like, well, I should be doing this and I should be doing that. And the doctor, like, you know, the CDC or whoever it is says like, I should be getting X amount of hours in the day. I'm like, okay, those are for people who are not undergoing some kind of huge medical condition, right? So please be aware of that. So as much as you can, practicing physical exercise even includes walking, right? Also to practice healthy eating and sleeping. So healthy eating includes things that you would think of, right? Like meal preparation if possible, as well as sleep hygiene, right? Does anyone know what I mean when I say sleep hygiene? Like, what does that mean to you? What does that look like to you? This is something that I think sleep comes up a lot. And a lot of the time people have certain things that they've used in the past that's actually helped them with going to sleep. Has anyone come up with something that has worked in their life to either help them fall asleep when they're first starting to go to sleep, or when you wake up in the middle of the night and you have to help yourself fall back to sleep?
I like a warm heating pad if I can't fall back to sleep.
Nice.
I find it soothing.
Great. Physical heat. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
try meditation.
Reading. I take a book and I start to read, and within 20 minutes, I want to go to sleep.
Great. No? Things that help us wind down, right? So like physical sensations, right? Things that help calm and soothe us. And that's different for different people, right? I know that when I have trouble falling asleep, I listen to music. Not like headbanging, dancing music, right? But more calming, soothing, maybe like nature sounds, ocean waves, like that kind of thing. So yeah, there are multiple different ways. Yeah. One other thing that we actually already talked about, Joan brought it up, is do something throughout the day that you notice that you're grateful for, right? So if it's making a cup of tea, acknowledge that you did that, right? If it's this example is making your bed, right? If you're someone who likes to make your bed, then great. If it's, you know, washing a dish, do that, right? But acknowledge. The important part is doing the action, but also giving yourself credit for doing the action, right? So this also includes if you really want to reach out to a friend or a family member and you keep thinking about it, you haven't done it, and then you do it, give yourself, and then they don't answer the phone, right? That could happen, right? But give yourself credit for actually doing the thing that you wanted to do. And then the last one is to acknowledge how you're feeling, right? That you are undergoing stress and there are going to be more stressful moments and less stressful moments and really, really stressful moments and all in between, right? And that's okay. And that's part of your life's journey at the moment. And to really acknowledge that you are going through something that is difficult and to sort of practice saying, I'm okay with not being okay. Right? That's something that has come up throughout the entire pandemic for all of us, because it's something that's really rocked us. And with you guys having the diagnosis of cancer, another thing that's rocked you, right? And you had these two things going on at the same time. So I can imagine that the level of distress can be really high, and to acknowledge it and to accept it and to validate it for others, right? And you guys do a really great job. Every time I come to this group, I'm so impressed by all of you. You do a really great job of supporting one another and really validating each other's feelings. Any thoughts on this slide before we move on, or any questions? Yeah, Joan.
So I'm not a bed maker traditionally, but I have been making my bed a lot. Why does it feel so satisfying? Does anybody have any idea? I don't know what it is, but just to, you know, fold the sheets and smooth them out. And my cat makes herself, accommodates me when she's sleeping on an area that I want to make. I you know, it's just, it's so pleasing.
It is.
I have no idea why.
You know, I'm also a bed maker by nature, right? Also maybe not by nature, maybe I was like forced to make my bed as a kid. But like
Never.
I, you know, was raised by parents who like wanted a tidy and clean home. And there is a link between keeping your environment calm, as well as tidy and organized.
Mhm.
If you are anxious, right? Because when we're anxious or when we're stressed out and we're feeling a lot of feelings, whether they be anxiety or depression or any in between, we're feeling a lot. And so anything that might trigger us, right? Like we might leave the apartment or house and it's left all tidied up, but then we come back and either the kid or the pet or whoever you live with has sort of like left it in disarray. There's dishes in the sink, or the bed is not made, or there's like shoes everywhere, or whatever it is, that we're then feeling like, oh, right? Like, why? Like, this is now extra work that we have to do.
Yeah. Mhm.
And there is a really strong link between if our space is clean and picked up and organized, then our brain can be clean and picked up and organized.
Mm.
They actually interact with one another. And so if our space is more chaotic, our brain can be more chaotic, and vice versa. So even if we come back and our day has been super chaotic, but we come back home into a calm and organized space, it actually helps soothe us.
Mhm.
So it's a really, like, you know, if you're able to make your bed in something that you like to do, then it can be really helpful to do it.
Thank
Really
you.
good point, of course. Okay. So the next part is box breathing. Has anyone heard of this before? Okay. So there are two, we have time. There are two different calming activities that I want to introduce you guys to. And box breathing is one of them. So both of the activities I'm going to talk about are coping strategies of when we're feeling a lot, right? And it relates back to what Joan was saying of bringing herself present, back into the present moment. So this is linked to meditation, to yoga, to lots of other different forms of exercise where you sort of have to like center and ground yourself. And in order to do that, the first thing you have to do is breathe, right? And it sounds simple, right? Because our bodies are breathing all the time. We don't even think about it. But this type of breathing, you have to think about because it's not the kind that you typically do. And when we are anxious, a lot of the time we breathe heavy. We breathe from our chest, like up here, right? And our lungs go back and forth, like really hard. It looks and sounds like this, right? Like, and we're not actually getting any actual air down into our lungs and diaphragm. It's all up here in our chest, right? So what we actually want to do, where we want to breathe from, is like our bellies, right? So below our chest into our bellies. When we do this type of breathing, our belly should expand when we breathe in, and it should contract when we breathe out, right? And so this type of breathing is called box breathing because you're basically going to breathe, you're going to hold, you're going to breathe out, and then you're going to hold again. It might sound silly, but the holding part is the most important part of this. A lot of the times when I teach this, people are like, okay, I got it. I breathe in through my nose, I breathe out from my mouth, and I'm done. But that's not actually it. It's the holding part. So what it looks and sounds like is you breathe in through your nose. When you breathe in through your nose, your mouth is closed, right? And when I teach this to little kids, I say, when you breathe in through your nose, you're like breathing in as much air as possible. You're breathing in like your favorite scent in the whole wide world, right? So you're breathing in the smell of flowers, or the smell, like my favorite scent ever is like the smell of my grandma's mac and cheese, right? So like breathing in as much as physically possible. And then we're holding the breath. And then when we're breathing out, our jaw is dropped, or our mouth is open, right? It's a like a ha kind of sound, right? And we're breathing out, it should be like we're breathing out everything that's inside your body as much as physically possible. And then we're holding again. And then we're repeating the cycle. Okay, so I have a video going to help us with this, but any questions before we watch the video? Okay. So when we breathe in, I'm just going to show you what it looks like. So we breathe in through the nose. and then we repeat it. Right, see how slow that was? It's 16 seconds, but it's really slow. It's like much slower than you actually want to breathe. Okay, so let me share this video with you if I can do it. Actually, let me stop sharing for a second. Okay. Okay, can you see the video? Okay. Here we go. So we're gonna breathe along with the video. It's gonna time us in and time us out. You get to decide. So the first time you do it, obviously you have to have your eyes open because you have to figure out what you're doing, right? But as you get better at it, you can have your eyes closed, you can sit differently. It's just something to practice. Okay. So again, 4 seconds you breathe in, 4 seconds you hold, 4 seconds you breathe out, and then 4 seconds you hold. And then you repeat it. So start. Okay. How was that?
That was relaxing.
Okay. Did anyone find it difficult or hard, or I don't really know what I'm doing?
I thought the holding it was hard. You know, I was waiting for the hold. I was ready to let it out.
Yes, totally agreed. The first couple of times when we do breathing, we're not used to the holding, right? Like, what's this? So it really, you have to train your brain to stop and really just focus on what you're doing. The more you practice it, the easier it becomes. It can become very, very routine. So what the recommendation is to practice it all the time, right? Like literally all the time. And we actually recommend that you practice it not during times of stress, that you practice it on a regular basis as part of your regular daily routine. So that way it becomes a habit for you to breathe in this manner. So that way, when you do have a stressful situation that you come across, that it becomes an automatic type of way of breathing, and it can actually replace the kind of thing that you may used to do. Any other thoughts or comments on breathing? Okay. So again, box breathing. So the next one is called grounding. Grounding is literally what it says, right? So the concept of grounding is for you to be centered on the earth, right? So there are many different ways that you can do this. Again, yoga and meditation use this on a very regular basis. This is like the concept that it came out of, to feel your body on the ground and to remain present in the moment. when I talk to people about this, there are multiple different ways to do it. You can also do it in multiple different areas, arenas. There's a specific method that I think is helpful to understand. It's called the 5-4-3-2-1 method, and it walks you around your senses. So you'll see in the video that we talk about, what do you see? Name 5 things. What do you hear? Name 4 things. No, sorry. What do you touch? Name 4 things. What do you hear? Name 3 things. What can, I'm messing it up, guys. There's like taste and feel, right? So you're basically walking around your senses. And I'm gonna let the video explain it to you. Am I sharing yet? No? Okay. Now am I sharing? Oh, okay, now? Okay, great.
The 5-4-3-2-1 method is a grounding exercise that can help you stay in the moment and avoid negative thinking and worry. You can do this exercise anywhere, at home, at school, in the car, or even in the middle of a crowd. You can do it sitting, standing, or laying down. Counting down from 5, use your senses to list things around you. Make an effort to notice details about these things. This is how to do it. Start by breathing deeply in through your nose and out through your mouth. Then slowly look at your surroundings. Find 5 things that you can see around you. Maybe you see a colorful poster on the wall, the spider web on the bookshelf, the lamp on the nightstand with the red shade, the cat sleeping peacefully on the chair, the cactus on the dresser that has finally bloomed. Then list 4 things that you can touch. The warm mug in your hands, the soft comforter on the bed, the denim of your jeans, the scratchy carpet under your feet. Next, listen for 3 things you can hear. Maybe the ticking of a clock, the quiet hum of your computer, the sound of traffic from outside. Now try to find 2 things that you can smell. The tea in your mug, the clean scent of your clothes. Finally, list 1 emotion that you feel. This is a way to ground yourself so you can feel present in the moment and in control of your surroundings. Now you try.
Okay. How was that for people?
Relax.
Relaxing.
That one seems like a lot more work for me. It's just not relaxing to have to like think and count, and yeah, I prefer the first one.
I'm really glad you said that. Because I get that feedback often, because it's sort of more work, right? To like think about how many things you have to count, and
Yeah.
this can be very simplified. You don't have to do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. A lot of people use this same technique to do something called meditative walking, which is literally walking somewhere, anywhere, doesn't matter where, and just being aware of your surroundings. It's best done outside, because then you can see more things usually. But just to be able to, if you think you're going for a walk in Central Park, to really ground yourself in the present moment. And this is something that we don't typically do. At least I know I don't. Usually when I'm going for a walk, I'm like listening to music or walking my dog or talking to someone or like doing something else. I'm not really paying attention to my surroundings. But to be able to stop and sort of just see what you notice, see what you hear, what are you touching? Are you sitting or standing? What are you smelling? If you're tasting anything. And then how are you feeling? Okay, and that's a simplified version. Yeah. Any final thoughts? I know that we're at time now. Okay. I hope this was helpful to all of you. And I encourage you to practice. It really does help. And the more you practice, the better you get at it.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
This was
Thank you.
really, really interesting. And I also love when Elicia and I, connected beforehand about kind of what the goals were for this session. And I said that I think people really like being able to walk away from a session with concrete information and techniques and tips. And I think you really gave us that. And again, kind of what Robin said, some are going to work, some are not going to work. But interestingly, yesterday and today, you have now mentioned meditative walking, and it's not something that I've actually heard of before. And I am going to look it up because someone specifically spoke to me about it as a healing modality yesterday, and I'm really interested in it. So I think your knowledge in this subject is so vast, and I really, really appreciate you taking the time to share with all of us. I think people were really engaged. You have such skill as a group leader also, so you have a lovely doing it. And thank you for those of you who came late. Elicia mentioned that this is typically stuff that they do for staff, but I had reached out, at this point about a year ago or so, and said, do this for our patients. So we are getting the benefit of insider information here that is usually reserved for the use of staff. But I think it also shows how everyone is under so much stress right now and needs to try, and is trying to become, not needs to try, is trying to become resilient in any ways possible. And these were super helpful techniques. I know I'm going to incorporate some of them and research some future ones. So thank you so much.